Welcome to the Steven Cartwright Radio Show, and check out this quick highlight of today's broadcast.
Gosh, look at your neighbor and say, I'm not fighting for nothing. I'm not in this for nothing. I didn't go through all of this stuff in my marriage for nothing. I didn't raise these kids this way for nothing. I didn't give my tithes and my offering for nothing. The devil is a liar. I was not just going through the motion. You think I spent 40 days of prayer just to come out and get nothing? The devil is a liar. You think I pursued God this hard to go that hard and get nothing? There's an expectation in my spirit because I don't war in vain. If I'm going to fight, it's because there's fruit in my future. There's wealth in my future. There's healing in my future. There's deliverance in my future. There's breakthrough in my future. If I'm going to fight, it's because there's an expectation.
To God be the glory, and welcome to the Steven Cartwright Radio Show. I am your host, Steven Cartwright, and I'd like to welcome you to Faith and Empowerment in the Kingdom. If you're in the Denver area, please join us at the Refuge of Denver on Sundays at 10 a.m. at 9250 East Bellevue Avenue in Greenwood Village, Colorado, 80111. We would love to worship with you and your family. And as always, you can connect with us on our website at www.therefugedenver.org to stay connected and up to date to everything that God is doing right here with our community of faith. Thank you again for joining us, and we pray that you are blessed and edified by the message.
In my notes, I put down this thing of the God-ordained seed. Wow. Not just seed, but the seed that is God-ordained. Not just works, but the works that are God ordained. Not just activity, but the activity that is God ordained. What I am telling you is that God is about to reveal your true assignment. God is about to show you what your purpose is. God is about to show you what you were created to do, because He's not just after mere men living on this earth and doing things and then claiming that for God, but He's about an assurance, a blessed assurance in Him, that when we hear Him and when we receive Him and when we walk in Him, we know this is what we are called to do. Can I tell you, this is why the enemy has been fighting you? Because he wants you to forfeit before God brings it to pass. He wants you to throw in the towel before God really does it. He wants you to give up before God shows you who He really is, and you don't have time to throw in the towel. You don't have the ability to give up on God. You got to stand here, because on the other side of your standing is God's purpose. But I cannot attest to that for you. I can only attest to that for me, and what I want God to do in my life, and the way I want God to open up my heart, and the way I want Him to be used in my home and in my marriage and with my kids, because I want to accept the individual call. I want to be the man God has called me to be. I just believe there are people in this room, they're saying, God, I'm willing to forgo everything I'm used to knowing, and I've been okay with knowing. God, I'm tired of all that. God, I'm ready for more. I want to go deeper in you. I want to go further in you. I want to experience more in you. And I'm not going to allow anything to get in my way. If it's God, I want to know it's God. I don't want to know it's church. I don't want to know it's my pastor. I don't want to know it's people. I want to know that it's God. That's right. Amen. Hallelujah. There is an individual compelling, a clarion call. And I believe He's saying, who's going to accept the call? Who wants it? Who wants it? Who wants it? Who wants it? My notes, I put, God is increasing your capacity for receiving by increasing your capacity for producing. My Lord. What I am saying is, the more you can produce is the more you can receive. Right. See, you can't ask God to give you something without asking Him consequently to change something about you. Because whatever he gives you, you have to be qualified to have it. You got to be capable of having it. The reason why this is an individual call, it's not about what God is doing with other people. The question you got to ask yourself, what is God doing with me? Because whatever he does with me, that's what I'll be able to do in the world. He's increasing my capacity to receive by increasing my ability to produce. And in order for him to increase my ability to produce, he does have to put his hands on me. He has to put his hands on my life. He has to put his hands on my mind, because my ways are not his ways. My thoughts are not his thoughts. What I thought I knew about God, I didn't really know. What I thought I had in God, I didn't really have. Have you ever had God come to you and remind you that you ain't as good as you think you are? You ain't as holy and faithful as you talking about you love the Lord. But every now and then God has to remind you that there is yet more that he has to do with you, yet more that he's working on with you. You think you know what he's doing, but he says you have no idea, and therefore you can't get comfortable, because what you've seen ain't nothing compared to what I have in store for you. My ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts. I don't move like you move. I don't move when you want me to move. I move when I get ready to move. I do it when I get ready to do it. And if you're going to walk with me, you got to learn how to walk according to my way, my will, my word, and my timing. He's increasing our capacity. So one of Abraham's greatest jobs was to believe God and journey with God to the point that he could produce the God-ordained seed through Sarah. So I want you to understand this. I'm going to read this and I'm going to share you with this. In Genesis 16, I'll start there. He says, don't accept the journey or the process without the expectation of the results. Meaning, don't ever just journey with God without expectation.
That's right, that's right.
Put your hands on your stomach right now. Yeah, I said this shit. Put your hand on your stomach. Say, I'm expecting.
I'm expecting.
Now, if there's some pregnant women in this room, rub your belly. Just rub your belly. I want you to say, I'm expecting.
I'm expecting.
Expectation. Expectation is the breeding ground of miracles, of faith, of producing results in God. I have an expectation in God. I got an expectation for God to do the miraculous in my life. I have an expectation. And don't ever journey with God, suffer with God, wrestle with God, and then come out of all of that without an expectation. God will never have you to fight on credit. God never has you to war in vain. He will never put you through the fire just to say he put you through the fire. But if you're going through it now, it's because there's an expectation in your future. There's something that God has for you. And never accept the fight without expecting the fruit. Gosh, look at your neighbor and say, I'm not fighting for nothing. I'm not in this for nothing. I didn't go through all of this stuff in my marriage for nothing. I didn't raise these kids this way for nothing. I didn't give my tithes and my offering for nothing. The devil is a liar. I was not just going through the motion. You think I spent 40 days of prayer just to come out and get nothing? The devil is a liar. You think I pursued God this hard to go that hard and get nothing? There's an expectation in my spirit, because I don't war in vain. If I'm going to fight, it's because there's fruit in my future. There's wealth in my future. There's healing in my future. There's deliverance in my future. There's breakthrough in my future. If I'm going to fight, it's because there's an expectation. Touch your stomach and say, I'm expecting. Matter of fact, touch your neighbor and say, I got an expectation. I got an expectation. I got my God. I pray by the time I get through, God gives you your expectation back. I pray he gives you your hope back. Hope thou in the Lord. I pray he gives you your peace back. My God, listen. I got to do this because this is not loud enough for me. Listen, I got to tell you this. Because I believe you can fight so hard that the enemy can cause you to give up on your expectation, although you never give up on the fight.
Come on now.
So you've been content to just fight, but you don't believe you're going to get nothing out of it. You think this is just your lot in life. It's my lot to fight. It's my lot to suffer. This is just what I do. Every time I get good, it get bad. Every time I take 2 steps forward, take 5 steps back. It's just my lot. No. God will never allow you to suffer on credit. Somebody say expectation. Expectation. Somebody say expectation. You are not fighting just to be fighting. God has an expectation for your future. I need you to look into your future. I need you to see March of 2017. I need you to see February of 20. I'm telling you, by the time I get into this new year, by the time I get through fighting this devil, by the time I get out of this fire, by the time I get through wrestling with God, by the time I get through going through this suffering, by the time I get through this, I declare I will be better, I will be whole, I will be healed, I will be saved, I will be free, I will be stable, I will be healthy. God's going to touch my mind, God's going to touch my family, because I have an expectation. Oh, one more time. Touch your neighbor and say expectation. On the journey, know this. He will never permit suffering without the intention of producing fruit. I need you to get your expectation back. I need you to remind yourself that I don't suffer on credit. Gosh. I need you to know. Oh, gosh. Okay, hold on. Go to John. I can't go there. Gosh. John chapter 9, verse 1. John chapter 9, verse 1. Somebody say, I don't suffer on credit. This is not in vain. God's taking me somewhere. Say, God is taking me somewhere. That's why it's important for us to sing that song, God is able to do. God is able to do. The reason why I love that is because I love people who sing that song in the fire. I'm in the fire, but I'm still saying he's able. Really, he ain't changed it. It's not turned around, but I'm still saying he is able. God is able to do. I'm reminding myself that God is able to do it. I'm going to sit right here like Paul and Silas sitting in the jail, and I'm going to praise my way out of this thing. God, you're still able. I'm going to preach my way out of this thing. God, I'm going to talk my way out of this thing. I don't care what it looks like on my left or my right. God is still able. God. Somebody say, I got an expectation. So John chapter 9 verse 1, he says, as he was walking along, he observed a man who had been born blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that caused him to be born blind? There are people in this room, you're asking yourself, why? What did I do, God? Why? What mistake did I make, God? Why? Where was it that I missed it? But I'm speaking this word for you so that you will be confirmed in your spirit spirit, right, that you did not miss God. I got to speak this word for you so that you will be confirmed in your spirit that God still loves you. He's still fighting for you. His angels are still surrounding you. He's still making a way for you. Y'all don't mind if I preach a little bit, do you? I came to tell you today, this is not your fault. This is not a mistake of yours. This ain't because you missed something. I came to tell you today that just as Jesus said, neither this man or his parents sinned. He said, but this has happened so that God's work might be revealed in him. My God, you are fighting because God is fighting you into revelation. God got some stuff that he needs to reveal in you. You're not going through this because God don't like you. You're going through this because God really loves you and he knows he can trust you to get glory out of you, even if it means going through the fire, even if it means going through the flood, even if it means dealing with the hail of life. God said, if you stand with me, if you suffer with me, you will reign with me. He said, you're not here suffering for anything. Go to Psalms 33:18. I was sitting in my house, Elder, and that thing dropped in my spirit. He said, you walk around here moping like you suffering on credit. You walk around here all mad like you missed something. You forgot you was in my process. Gosh, God, listen. Gosh, you forgot, listen, not just the process, you forgot the end of every process that has my name on it. He says, I need you to stop focusing on the process and I need you to get your mind on the end. For better is the end. Better is the end. If I'm going to embrace a new year, I'm going to adjust my expectation. If I'm going to embrace something different, then I have to adjust my expectation. Psalms 33:18. Here's what the psalmist says. He says, chapter 33, verse 18 says, indeed, the Lord watches those who fear him, those who trust in his gracious love, to deliver them from death, to keep them alive in times of famine. 20 says, we wait on the Lord. He is our what? Our help and our shield. Indeed, our heart will do what? It will rejoice in him. Why? Because we have placed our trust in his holy name. The Lord, may your gracious love be upon us, even as we do what? Even as we hope in you. Again, verse 21 says, indeed, our heart will rejoice in him because we have placed our trust in his holy name. Can I tell you something? Your rejoicing will line up with your trusting. Wherever you rejoice, that's where your trust is. However you rejoice, that's where your trust is. And so I just want to stand to your feet. I don't know. Maybe there's some people who are realigning their trust. So that means they can reconfigure their rejoicing. I wonder if there's anybody in this room who is trusting in the Lord. Watch this. I wonder if there's anybody in this room who is trusting in the Lord. I wonder if there's anybody in the room. They're going to get it in a little bit. I wonder if there's anybody who's trusting. I wonder if there's anybody in the room who's trusting. I wonder if there's anybody who's trusting in the Lord. Is there anybody who says, I just believe, I'm just going to hold on, I'm just going to stay right here, and I'm just going to rejoice? Is there anybody in the room who doesn't mind rejoicing even in a fire, even in the fight, even in the turmoil, even in the trouble? Is there anybody? I dare you to rejoice now. I dare you to rejoice now. I dare you to rejoice now. I dare you to rejoice. My joy coming from the Lord. My joy. Your rejoicing will line up with your trusting. Whenever you're struggling to praise, that means you're in a deficiency in faith. Somewhere sight has been lost, watch this, on who God is and what God can do. Everybody say who God is and what God can do. Now, one more time, I just wonder if there's anybody who is trusting in the Lord. That means you got insight on who God is and what God can do. I see your money, but I know who God is. I see your family, but I know who God is. I see your situation, but I know who God is. Be seated, be seated, be seated. I don't suffer on credit. So the joy of suffering comes from the joy of receiving. Hebrews 12:2 says Jesus Christ suffered the cross. He endured the cross for the joy that was set before him. It wasn't that he could take the cross. It's just that he had greater confidence in the joy of what was to come. It's not like he found pleasure in the cross, but he knew the pleasure it would bring to us. So he said, I will gladly take that if that will cause God's work to be revealed in my people. He says, what happens to those who suffer? What's possible for those who suffer, who wrestle with God and yet say, I won't let go until you bless me. You got to remember what is possible for those types of people. Not people who are just content to suffer for suffering's sake, but people who have an expectation in their suffering. Let me tell you something. Don't you ever go through hell and not expect heaven. God, gosh. My. Don't let the devil make you cry this hard, make you fight this hard and say, I demand double for my trouble. I believe that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I refuse to go into another year just being okay with suffering, but never experiencing manifestation. Gosh. There's power to those who say, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. There's power to those who says he knows the way that I take. And when he had tried me, I shall come forth as what? Gold. I have expectation of deliverance, freedom, breakthrough, into victory and prosperity in the Lord. Listen, don't let your suffering change your expectation. But do let your suffering invigorate your producing. God is increasing your capacity for receiving by increasing your capacity for producing. He's making a producer out of you. So I want you to say this with me. Say, I am called to produce. Write that down. You are ordained to multiply. You are ordained to multiply. That's why you're so uncomfortable right now. Because discomfort always accompanies multiplication. That's why it doesn't feel good right now. You are ordained to produce. You're called to produce. What I'm saying is God is about to give you proof that everything you've been going through, this last season of your life, I want to tell you proof is on the way. Gosh, y'all, his proof. God is about to prove himself in your life. He's about to show you not just how strong you are. He's about to show you how bad he is, how great he is, how mighty God. Proof is on the way. God is about to prove himself to you. God, I don't know who I'm preaching to, but I got to preach it anyway. God is about to show you that you didn't suffer in vain. You didn't walk this way for nothing. You didn't have to make that decision for nothing. God is about to prove to you that he is God and he's God all by himself. No man shall get the glory out of what God is about to do for you. You gonna look at your money and say, but God. You gonna look at your house and say, but God. You gonna look at your car and say, but God. You gonna look in the mirror and say, but God. If it had not been for the Lord, he was really on my side. He really did love me. He really was fighting for me. He really was making a way. He really was working it out. If it had not been for the Lord. Jesus. Somebody say, I have expectation of who God is, what God does. Write that down.
Thank you for tuning in to our broadcast today. We pray that you are blessed by everything that was shared, and we look forward to connecting with you next time as we continue our pursuit of faith and empowerment in the kingdom. God bless you.